Okay, so you guys are entrusting me with this new diet and lifestyle change, and so I feel very obligated, and I feel like it's very necessary for you to kind of get the history of why fat is so in our heads that it's bad, and also why this kind of diet is really, really awesome for weight loss, but also for performance and things that you're, maybe you're not a weight loss client, but you want to get healthier from the inside out. This diet kind of does it all. And so, yes, it's for weight loss, but it also is just to make you feel amazing and feel better. And I kind of need to go through the history of fat to do that, and to talk about it, and make sure that when people ask you, like, isn't butter bad for you, that you have somewhat of an answer. And the more you learn, the more you listen to these videos, it'll become more natural. But for a lot of you, this is like the first time ever hearing about butter being okay. And for some of you, we're just, when we think of cholesterol, we think of heart disease, right? So we think the word cholesterol always makes us feel like, I don't know, I think when I say cholesterol, it's like, oh, be careful of your heart, or maybe you need to get that checked, or maybe something's wrong. And I just want to make sure you guys know cholesterol is like a very, very helpful healing steroid in our body. Our body produces it to heal. And if we don't have cholesterol, especially in our diet, things like, so this is an example, a lot of people know about vitamin D and vitamin D deficiency. So the sun comes down and is absorbed in our skin. And a lot of people think, okay, well, Americans, we sit inside all day, which is true. So we're vitamin D deficient. But we also are very low in cholesterol in our diet because we're so used to it being bad and it's taken out of all these health foods. You have to have cholesterol to have the sun be absorbed in your skin. So if the cholesterol is non-existent in your body, it doesn't even matter. You're not going to be getting the vitamin D absorption. So that's one example. Another example, sex hormones are all from cholesterol. So a lot of those problems like lower libido, all of that kind of comes from lack of cholesterol. And so we think cholesterol is really bad, but cholesterol is very necessary. Why do we think cholesterol is bad? And so, well, first I have to. So cholesterol does not equal heart disease. Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee just met, and I think I posted about it if you guys have followed me. They finally said dietary cholesterol is no longer a reason for concern. And they used to have, like, the equivalent of one egg was too much cholesterol in our diet. That's what they said was recommended in our diet, which is just crazy. So I'm so, so grateful that that is no longer the case. But there's still that thing in our head that says fat is bad and cholesterol is bad and we can't eat it. It's going to cause heart disease. And so just a little bit, a couple studies. One study dealt with rabbits. They gave rabbits like a lot of cholesterol, and rabbits are not humans. They can't deal with it. So that was one study that promoted this kind of revolution that cholesterol is bad. Also, there's a study by Ancel Keys, who took a bunch of countries and picked the countries that he wanted that related heart disease with saturated fat and animal fat and cholesterol. And that was a study that got really popular and spread. So just studies that are not validated and do not mean that red meat and dietary cholesterol equals heart disease. There actually is no study that connects the two. And that's so crazy for some people because we just know that. We just think that. I thought that all the time. And so it's a hard thing to break. But the reason I want you to break it so badly is because when you produce insulin, so say you just had some carbohydrates, whether it's bread, whether it's oatmeal, whether it's cereal, whatever it is, when you eat that kind of carbohydrate glucose thing, your body has to produce insulin. And when you're constantly eating carbohydrates, this hormone, insulin, tells your body, horrible handwriting, that says store. Not horrible handwriting. Insulin produces, pancreas releases insulin, which tells your body to store. So if you are on a carbohydrate diet where there's lots of carbohydrates or primarily carbohydrates, and this is happening a lot, not only insulin resistance can happen, like diabetes and all these like blood sugar issues, but your body can't access the body fat that you have to burn. And so fat food does not equal fat body. But high amounts of insulin and carbohydrates going back and forth throughout the day, when you constantly have insulin produced in your body, you are telling your body to store onto the fat that you have. And so purely for the fact that if we can use fat as fuel, which regulates our blood sugar because we don't have to produce insulin, we are no longer saying store, we can say body. Use our extra storage in our body instead of just burning the fuel that we're eating. I hope that makes sense. Blake, did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I really want you guys to get this because that's the hardest thing is, okay, there's all these studies, now I'm trying to change my mind about fat, but why? This is why. If you want to lose the fat that you have in your body, stop eating foods that are going to create huge insulin spikes because that insulin spike is going to tell your body to hold on to the fat that you have. Okay, so then what causes high cholesterol? So let's move over to the middle. So there is a reason, and so it's not just this is all a myth and high cholesterol doesn't matter. It totally matters because it's your body's telling you, trying to protect you. So when your cholesterol is high, it's like this inflammatory response trying to heal itself. Cholesterol is trying to heal your body. So there's a sign that something's wrong. And so a lot of different things can play into that. Inflammation, so systemic inflammation, when you have a misbalance of good fats, good oils. Let's just start with the oils. I posted about this. If your oils are partially hydrogenated, or polyunsaturated fats, so seed oils, so like canola oil, vegetable oil, sunflower seed oil, those are not meant to be cooked. And when you put those at high heat or when they're shown into light and they're damaged, what happens when it's in your body, it's oxidized, and so all these free radicals happen in your body, which can damage your DNA, your RNA, and your cells. It's like crazy what can happen. So that's one reason why we have systemic inflammation is bad oils. So use good oils, coconut oil, avocado oil, grass-fed butter, lard, stable saturated fats will not become oxidized in our body, and that will start healing our body in the process. Okay, that's one reason. Another reason is stress. Stress, we're going to have a huge video on this soon, but if we have high amounts of stress, our body is going to respond, hence high cholesterol. So really working on making sure stress in our life is in balance. We'll get to that later. Inflammation, oxidation, and then biggest thing of all, sugar. And so we have a lot of sugar in our diet because fat was said it was bad, so we replaced it with sugar because you can't have any good food that's low fat. It tastes disgusting. So sugar is added. And if you don't believe me, just look at any non-fat yogurt that's flavored. It's going to have more sugar than a Snickers bar. It's crazy. So when we took out fat, we had to replace sugar. High amounts of sugar deplete our body of vitamins and minerals, and it's a negative calorie. It's not even just like an empty calorie. It like strips our body of the nutrients we need to heal our body and to feel the best possible feeling, superhero, whatever that feeling we're striving for. It will really, really prevent that process from happening. And so it's just a very frustrating process. It's hard to break that cycle in people and my clients, but it's so important too. Statins, the industry of lowering cholesterol and telling people that cholesterol is evil and stop eating cholesterol, it's a billion-dollar industry. There's so many people on statins, and that's a scary thing because it's like, oh, okay, I've had cholesterol, just take a pill. That pill has so many negative side effects, and it's just not good. So the best thing to do is take out the bad oils, take out the sugar, which you guys are doing, and start, hopefully by now we're starting to use fat as fuel, and your body has adjusted from using carbohydrates as fuel. And that's the biggest message I can tell you guys to tell other people is that fat is not the enemy. It's the bad types of fats, the trans fats, the bad oils, and then also that we have to eat real food. Get rid of the processed food. Stop eating all the sugar. You guys are doing that, but make sure the rest of the world knows. So I'm going to post a couple articles on this within the email that you can dig into this a little bit more. Really great books that I've already talked about in the Ultimate Challenge Guide that can kind of dig into this even more so. And I just want you to know that you guys are all doing the right thing. I know I sound crazy when I talk about eating fat as fuel, but it's so, so, so important. If you guys are having a hard time digesting the fat, since it is a little bit more fat than you're used to. Really important to make sure that maybe if it's too much, to slow that process down. It takes a while for your body to go straight from carbohydrates to fat. And so if you need, like, more sauerkraut is really good, eating more beets is really good, staying hydrated, those can all help. Raw apple cider vinegar. We'll talk about probiotics later on in the videos. And then also, don't be afraid to slowly add more and more fat if you're having a hard time adjusting. Okay, give me your thoughts on fat. What do you think about all this talk? Is it crazy? Is it new? Just be open and tell me what you think about it.